If you're a gamer, then I know you've been very curious to see an honest and unbiased perspective of MSI's latest and greatest, the all-new 12th gen MSI GE76. Last year, it was the fastest gaming laptop that we tested on this channel, so I am very excited to see how much it's improved this year. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my unboxing and giving you my first-hand impressions, as well as setting it up and taking a look at the internals, checking out the software, as well as giving you a preview of some gameplay. I actually have both the i7 QHD and the i9 UHD versions that I'll be comparing in a later review so that you can make the best possible decision for your budget. So make sure that you leave your questions for that review in the comments below. But today I'll be unboxing for you the most powerful i9 version with a 3080 Ti GPU and 32 gigabytes of 4800 megahertz of DDR5 RAM. I'm excited. Are you excited? MSI. True gaming. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and check out this small box before we get into the main event. This is our super powerful 330 watt power brick, very necessary for a computer with these specs. Got some documentation. Got your quick start guide with your port labeling and your function hotkeys in a bunch of different languages. And your F3 hotkey recovery functions in pretty much every language known to man. Your satisfaction is our #1 priority. They're so nice. And for the grand reveal, still a very chiseled masculine design. It looks like the logo got a little bit smaller, but maybe that's just me. A pretty nice soft metallic design with some more reflective pieces near the hinges. Now let's see if it passes the one finger test. Very nice. That's just about the perfect resistance on the hinge. Very smooth. Now let's take off the static blanket. It's nice to see a 17-inch next gen that actually has a full-size number pad. The last two 12th gen machines did not have that, so that's kind of a breath of fresh air. You've got your Steel Series speakers there on the sides. The touchpad feels pretty smooth. It is a little smaller than I prefer. Typing on the keyboard feels great. A nice soft click that results in a pretty silent keyboard. Not much flex in the screen. Pretty average screen wobble. As far as fingerprints on the palm rests, well, look at that. The oil and sweat on my hands actually just dissolves away. I mean, I've got pretty sweaty hands right now, and I am trying to create fingerprints on this laptop, and it's just dissolving away. The touchpad also hides fingerprints pretty well. It seems like fingerprints on the lid show up just a little bit more, even though it appears to be the same material, but still not that bad considering how sweaty my hands are right now. All right, now let's go ahead and check out the ports. On the right side, we've got what looks like a side speaker, two USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, an SD card reader, which I know I say this all the time, but as a content creator like myself, that is a huge plus. And then we've got some ventilation, and on the back side, we've got some exhaust ventilation, a mini DisplayPort 1.4, a USB-C Thunderbolt 4 port, an RJ45 Ethernet port, an HDMI 2.1 port, and your power connector. And then on the left side, a Kensington lock port, some more ventilation, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, a Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2 port with DisplayPort function, and a headphone and microphone jack. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the internals. On the back you can see we've got your typical elongated hexagonal ventilation, and then we've got some rather thick support nubs that I'm predicting will create a pretty decent gap to allow for extra airflow underneath. So quite a few screws we need to unscrew before we can actually get inside the case. We've got 12 screws total. Let's go ahead and unplug the battery before we touch anything. That's definitely one of the more difficult batteries to unplug. So here we've got our two main chassis fans, which are interconnected in a pretty generous network of heat piping. I have a feeling that this is going to have some pretty decent thermals, despite this being a 12th gen CPU and despite it being the hottest i9 CPU. And to the right, underneath this flap, we've got our removable Wi-Fi 6E card. And in the middle, underneath this plate, we've got our DDR5 RAM sticks. And then to the left of that, underneath this thermal pad, we've got our Gen 4 X4 SSD drive. And then underneath that, we've got a pretty large 99 watt hour battery sandwiched in between two pretty decently sized speakers, and I'm pretty interested in checking out that quality in my full review. All right, let's go ahead and speed through this boring Windows setup process and jump into the main program that we're going to be using on this machine, the MSI Center. Under feature sets, you can see a bunch of different optional features that you can download and install. MSI Recovery is for your backups. This Smart Priority feature right here optimizes your machine for creative applications like Adobe Premiere and Photoshop and After Effects and things like that. And we're going to be doing some tests on that in the full review to see if that actually does something. Gaming mode is going to optimize your machine to give you the best possible gaming experience. It looks like it'll fine-tune your screen color specifically for gaming and disable the touchpad so that you don't accidentally hit that during a game. And then in general settings, the main function that you're going to want to know about is this MUX switch right here. Hybrid mode is the best for battery life, and discrete graphics mode is what you're going to want to use to guarantee that you're getting the most out of your GPU during gaming, at the expense of battery life, of course. User scenario is another big one where you can go in and change your performance profiles. This intelligent AI right here actually does a pretty good job switching between these profiles here on the bottom, but I like to keep it on extreme performance to make sure that I know that I'm getting the max out of my machine during gaming. And then if you click on this little gear icon right here, you can set your GPU overclocking, and under fan speed, you can select cooler boost, and this is going to push your fans to their absolute max and cool your machine the most, therefore giving you the best performance. I have to warn you, it is a little loud though. The other main app is the SteelSeries app, where you can customize all your RGB lighting and animations for your keyboard, as well as the Aurora bar on the front. Now, I'm about to jump into some gameplay, but keep in mind this gameplay was before any updates. Sometimes updates actually break things, so I wanted to test it right out of the box first. So far, just the port selection and placement and the fact that it has a number pad puts it slightly above the last two 12th gen machines that I've tested. And just like the Razer, actually having backlit secondary key functions is just one more hit to the Alienware X17 R2. Now, if these games that I test solidifies your decision to purchase this machine, I would really appreciate it if you use my affiliate links in the description and comments below, as I get a small commission at no cost to you for every single purchase made. And it's what this channel relies on to help keep this content getting better and better for you. Guys, remember, every week I do a giveaway that randomly selects someone who's interacted with this channel in some way. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications turned on to stay up to date with that, as well as staying up to date with my latest gaming PC unboxings and reviews. Alright, let's get to the gameplay. Alright, first we're going to jump into Forza Horizon 4, and then we're going to jump into one of the heaviest graphical games, Red Dead Redemption 2. Here's all of our settings set to Ultra at 1080p. Looks like we got the CPU in the high 80s, low 90 degrees Celsius, which isn't horrible for a 12th gen i9. It's hotter than the Razer i7, but actually cooler than the Alienware X17 R2 i7. And the verdict is 195 frames per second. That's the best frame rate that I've ever gotten for this game on a laptop, beating all of the past 12th gen laptops that I've tested. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into 1440p and see what we've got here. By the way, I already tested out the i7 version of this laptop on this game, and it was only 5 frames per second less in 1080p. And that version also beat out every other gaming laptop that I've tested. Okay, so the verdict at 1440p, 161 frames per second. And this test was only 2 frames per second faster than that i7. I'm getting the feeling that my suspicions for the 12th gen i9 not being worth the extra money on a laptop are true. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into Red Dead. Here's all of my Red Dead graphic settings, starting with 1080p. This game actually has an RGB profile for the keyboard that highlights all the hotkeys. And let's fast forward a little bit. CPU in the high 70s and GPU in the high 60s. So not too hot for such a power-hungry game. Excuse me, partner. That's my horsey now. Whoa, hey, come back here. So after playing a while at 1080p, it looks like we've got an average of 110 frames per second. Now let's go ahead and switch over to 1440p and giddy up through some tunnels. Jumping forward after some more gameplay, and it only brought us down to about 102 frames per second. Now let's go ahead and check it out at 4K. Gallop around a little bit. Ooh, I wonder if I can get my horsey onto that train in motion. Oh, no. I just killed my horsey. So about 61 average frames per second at 4K with some insane settings. Pretty good, but spoiler, I also just tested this on the i7 version, and that came out at 56 frames per second at 4K. So not that big of a difference. And the winner of this week's Amazon.com e-gift card giveaway is...
Noah Smith.
If you'd like to see my other PC unboxings, then click on this link here. Or if you'd like to see my more serious PC reviews, then click on this link right here. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you guys. God bless.